We watched episode 4 of season 5 of Homeland tonight, which was called Why Is This Night Different? I don't have time to do a full podcast tonight because I'm going away tomorrow for work. But as soon as I finished watching the episode, I went onto Tumblr and started looking at the different posts and decided that I had to say something because I'm in violent disagreement with some of the things I've read. I'm actually quite surprised at some of the perspectives that I'm seeing online, and some of them were as I expected. Not surprisingly, one of the key Homeland blogs has described the Carrie Quinn interaction, in particular Quinn's behaviour, as being pretty pathetic, blatant fan pandering, said that Quinn was insensitive through the entire episode, and this was proof that he doesn't really understand Carrie anymore. The post also said the way that Quinn treated the whole Franny thing was really, really insensitive, that he didn't really understand any of it. Is there any humanity left in him? All he can tell her is that what she's saying is wrong. He can't grasp that she has priorities bigger than herself because he's never lived that way. Carrie grew up and he stayed the same. There are also some comments in there about how Quinn doesn't understand the impossibility of what he's saying to her, that she has to abandon her child. He doesn't really understand what that means. He doesn't get it, and there are nicer ways that he could have told her what to do, considering her state of mind, and that he was, again, very insensitive. There was also another comment saying that, I think I'll quote it, "My take is that she feels sorry about the way things ended, especially seeing how he is now, but she doesn't love him, and I don't think she ever did." So I thought those comments, quotes, were a pretty good starting point for discussion of the Carrie Quinn dynamic in this particular episode.
But I am doing everything that I can to get back. What are you doing?
If you're doing everything you can to get back to her, then you're still alive.
So?
So if this falls into the wrong hands, you're fucked.
I'm not going away forever, just until this situation is resolved.
How is it getting resolved?
I'm gonna figure out who targeted
They're
me.
gonna keep come looking for you.
And I will
And
fix
if
it.
they think you're still alive, they will get to you through Franny. Carrie, if you want Franny to be safe, you have to be dead.
That particular scene is the one that has been identified as the one that demonstrates that Quinn is being insensitive to Carrie's feelings. His use of the words, "you have to be dead," is extremely harsh. There are certainly kinder and gentler ways that he could have said the same thing to her. I think it's interesting that some have chosen to interpret that as being that he doesn't understand and that he's being insensitive. Even if you weren't a Carrie Quinn shipper, in looking at that scene, I think you would say that Quinn was being the pragmatic one. There's no point having a situation where Carrie sends her daughter away and is deliberately distancing herself from her daughter so as not to endanger her daughter, but then having a video that would be evidence out there that Carrie is still alive and would therefore still be vulnerable because of her daughter. So Quinn is definitely being the logical one of the two when he points out that she needs to be very careful what she says on the video. I'm also not sure of the circumstances that led to the video being made. For all we know, it was Quinn himself who suggested it. Even if it was Carrie who suggested it, he's clearly gone along with the idea and he's agreed to let her do it. So he has realised how important it is for her to leave that message for her daughter. She just wants her to do it in a way that doesn't endanger both of them. In saying to her that she has to be dead, I don't think he's been deliberately cruel. I think it's actually his knowledge of how to reach Carrie when she's in that particular frame of mind. I don't think that gentle words or mollycoddling her would probably reach her in the same way that that degree of directness would reach her. Because you could see that as soon as he said that, it sank home to her. She was very upset, but she regrouped and she thought about it and she redid the video message.
I did everything that I could to get back to you. But I didn't make it. I didn't abandon you. I know what that feels like, and I would never do that to you.
Quinn doesn't try to stop Carrie leaving this very important message for Franny. He knows Carrie's own feelings of abandonment and how important it is for her to make sure that her daughter doesn't have those same feelings. So I think that's the complete opposite of being insensitive. There's also his body language when he's sitting there listening to her, rip open her soul into the video like that. He's sitting there with his arms crossed, very closed. He looks extremely uncomfortable. I think he's uncomfortable because he is essentially eavesdropping on what Carrie is saying. But I think a part of it is probably him, just being reminded again of the fact that Carrie reminds him of his own humanity. So we saw in earlier seasons that, we thought he was beyond the pale, but when he was with Carrie, for some reason, she made him feel like he could be better and he could redeem himself. For the last 2 years, he's been in Syria, off into blackness again, and now that he's back with her again, it's probably bringing back all of those old memories and also making him think that, it's probably making him question some of his recent decisions. This next comment from Carrie, when they're sort of gathering their things, is quite interesting to me because I'm not quite sure why she says it. I think one of the official blogs, not the official blogs, one of the popular blogs was saying that she was just saying it, in fond remembrance of what they had before, but she didn't really mean it. We know Carrie is a very manipulative person, but in this particular situation, Quinn was already helping her without being asked. She didn't need to manipulate him. So I'm not quite sure why she said it. It didn't seem heartfelt. It didn't seem like she said it out of love. It's not, the shipper in me thinking that it meant more than it did. I think she was genuinely trying to say to him, you disappeared, I looked for you and I cared. And he's brushed it off. Good thing is Carrie's quite thick-skinned, so I don't think she's particularly offended, but it is a very strange moment because I'm not quite sure what it meant.
Where have you been?
Syria.
Quinn, the last 2 years, everywhere I went, I looked for you. I tried to find you. I never stopped thinking about you.
Doesn't matter now.
And of course we have the very important scene where she insists on going with him.
It's all smart. Sending you to kill me is not smart. It's fucking stupid. The fact that I'm still alive proves it.
You're still a target, either way you look at it.
Quinn, if Saul didn't put my name in the box and someone's inside your operation, any name you get after this, it's not legitimate. Let's test it. Take me to your drop.
No, I'll handle it.
I'll go with you.
Get in the car, we're taking you to the train.
No!
Carrie!
You are telling me that someone I trust more than I've ever trusted anyone is trying to kill me, and I'm just supposed to accept that, no questions asked? Spend my life on the run, give up my daughter? Quinn, I have to know.
To me, that particular scene reinforced to me that they do understand each other, and there's nothing in there about him not getting her and her not getting him. They're able to communicate, and while they have many disagreements with many other people, when these two work together, they just get each other. And he also can't say no to her. So if you remember this particular scene from season 3.
And I can prove it now, but I need your help. Quinn?
Sure, Carrie. Whatever you need.
And then who could forget this particular exchange in season 4?
Shit, Carrie.
I know.
You're the hardest person in the world to say no to.
I don't think I'm looking at the world through shipper goggles, and I don't think I'm being blinkered, because from what I can see, that particular exchange where she insists on going to the post office and all that sort of, and the fact that he can't say no to her and he's persuaded, it's entirely consistent with previous seasons' characterizations, even as far back as season 2, where, she's clearly his weak point and he has a soft spot for her. Now, while I was saying that the earlier exchange where she said that she thought about him all the time didn't necessarily mean that she had any particular tender feelings, I do think that this last sequence in which she's driving in the car when he's injured does display more feeling on her part than the earlier sequence did. It certainly does on Quinn's part, because he's basically saying that he's prepared to die, not get medical treatment, so that she can maintain cover and get away. That seems pretty selfless to me, because at that point in time, he doesn't know that the bullets are through and through. So, as far as he knows, he's about to die.
I should take you to a hospital.
No, I'm okay.
You are not okay. You should pull over.
No, they're coming back to get him.
Who was that?
Whoever wants you dead wants me dead. We have to get you to the train station.
No.
Your photo's in the drop. You'll have your cover. You can go.
I am not leaving. I'm not.
Carrie's refusal to leave could be for a few reasons. First of all, she wants to get to the bottom of who's trying to kill her, of course. But her words aren't, I'm not leaving until I get to the bottom of this, or I'm not leaving until I find out who's doing this. She says, I'm not leaving you. So that's quite personal. It's quite specific. So you don't even have to be a shipper to read much into that. I also just realised that it's Carrie's insistence on going with Quinn to the post office that probably ends up saving his life, because if he'd gone on his own, he would be dead. So after watching this episode, I realised that, there was one category of fan that didn't really like the Carrie Quinn interactions because they don't like Carrie Quinn. Then there was the other category of fan that didn't like the episode because they didn't think that it was shippy enough. For me, I actually just really enjoyed seeing them share screen time again, work together and have discussions together and try to solve problems together. So I'm pretty excited to see what the rest of the season brings. Particularly given that the writers were so emphatic that these two weren't supposed to be together. So the way they're writing all of this makes me feel like maybe they were lying to us and they actually do think these two are meant to be together. Even if not romantically, but, as a great working couple. Anyway, I'd be interested to see what everyone else thinks.